Hi, so I'm Susie and welcome to this YouTube video today. It's a little bit different today. I was meeting up with my friend Nikki, who is here as well.
Hi.
And Nikki and I know each other from youth across Hemel, and we were both sort of involved in youth work in churches, and we both really love working together and seeing the churches come together to achieve things. And today we're actually meeting somewhere really special because we're meeting in the Liberty Tea Rooms, which is an initiative that's been supported by the churches together in Hemel Hempstead. And it really was Jesus' heart that the church would be one and would work together. So I just thought it'd be exciting to have a catch up with Nikki and hear about how that's practically being worked out in Hemel Hempstead. So hope you'll enjoy this and it might inspire you in your local area to start collaborating with churches near you.
Yeah, so I'm Nikki, so I've been in Hemel for my whole life, but for the last 4 years I've been the chair of Churches Together. I actually came on board originally as the sort of young one to take over the website, and that lasted for about 2 months before someone said, "Do you fancy being the chair?" And I went, "What? I don't even know what Churches Together does," but you know, God has a way of pushing you off a cliff sometimes, and it's been honestly one of the best things I've ever done. It's fantastic working with so many different people. There are 30 churches now in Hemel Hempstead that are members of Churches Together, so it's just such a great community and group of different people. So yeah, it's been wonderful, and this project is just one of my favourite things that we've done since I've been the chair.
So tell me a little bit about this idea, this kind of community hub tea rooms idea.
Yeah, so it came about, we had a couple of different people in town all thinking about wanting to get in a town centre, not really sure how to do it. So we had an organisation called Across Hemel, where they did some really, really big events in town that were brilliant. But they felt God really saying, I want to do that kind of thing every day in the town. We had the Liberty Tea Rooms charity, which had started by Kerry Ann, and so that was sort of going slightly away from town. And then Churches Together as a group of trustees, we were thinking about how could we start something, how could we do something in the town. So we kind of all went, well actually we're all trying to do the same thing, so shall we do it together? So we kind of amalgamated all three. So Across Hemel, as a charity, they gave all of their funds and everything and all of their resources over to Liberty Tea Rooms and Community Hub, and as the chair of Church Together I'm a trustee of that organisation, so that keeps all the churches linked, and we set about a journey which took a good 2 years, I think, from start to kind of opening, of looking for the right space, just praying really hard, and just really being guided, and it's just been incredible. We've had a couple of different spaces and we had some down periods where you kind of really have to trust that this is what God's asking you to do, and you know, and we found this amazing building, which has just been so fantastic. And so the next step was to refurb it and renovate it, and any of you that know my good friend Kerry Ann, she's particular to the tea. She likes things done properly, nothing half done. I was really, really blown away when we started doing the refurb, because we had so many Christian traders, electricians, builders, plumbers, painters, you name it. They came in on their days off every Saturday, gave of their time freely. We've paid bare minimum for all the materials that we needed. They got us loads of really good deals on all of that. They found places to get stuff, and most of them wouldn't let us pay them at all. And so it came together so amazing, and just so much, you know, one of the things when you take on a project like this, people always say, you know, how are you going to pay for it? How are you going to fund this? This is, you know, we were looking at £50,000 worth of refurb, and it came in at half that because of the goodwill of all of those people every single week coming in, giving of their time, because they believed in the vision and they believed that that's what God wanted them to do. And as you'll see, you know, it's just fantastic. It's just such a high quality of finish. And that's one of the things that when people come into the tea rooms, especially those in the church community, because they've been hearing us talk about this place for 2 years now, going, it's coming, it's coming, it's coming. They walk in and they are just blown away by the calibre of the place, you know, that it's not just another little charity shop kind of place in the middle of town. This is a proper functioning tea rooms that any business would be proud of. And yeah, so it's something that we're really, really proud of, that quality of it. The next favourite thing I have lots of favourite things. The next favourite thing I have about the tea rooms is that we run on an honesty box policy. So when you come in, you get given a little envelope, You place your order, and when your food and your drinks are brought over, you get a slip that has suggested donations. So these are costs of kind of basically what it costs us to make them. And you put in that envelope whatever you can afford, whatever you feel that what you've had is worth, and you put that envelope in a box on the way out. So we have no idea when people come in how much they're paying for what they're having. And again, that was something that people sort of went, oh, can you run a business model on having no idea what people are going to pay you? Pretty much most of the envelopes have more than the suggested donations. Just regularly we are blown away by how much people give. People just are so generous, and I think they buy in, they come in and they see what we're trying to do. But it really allows us to do some of the other work which we want to do, which is not just run a great tea rooms, which is lovely, but actually our mission here is to have a community hub, a place where people can come in off the street and they can meet the love of God, not through having crosses on the wall, but by having people that will talk to them, that will accept them, that will just come and sit with them, having a safe environment, a relaxing environment where they can take a step out of their busy day. We also have a lot of other stuff going on in the building. So right now we're sat in the CAP office, the Christians Against Poverty office. So which for those of you who don't know is a debt counselling charity. And so people can come in, they can meet, they can talk about their situation in a relaxed, friendly environment over a cup of tea, which is very good tea. And and so again, it's that kind of idea that people can walk in and anything that they need, they can get here. We run a food bank distribution point, so people that have food bank vouchers can come in and collect from us. We have a community room that we are using for different community groups to come in and use the space. And I myself, we have Churches Together trustees meetings here sometimes, which is brilliant because then we get good tea and cakes throughout the meeting, which I love. The street pastors in Hemel also come in. They come in through the back door and we have a whole little section that is just for them. That's tea, coffee and biscuits to keep them going through the cold nights when they're out on the streets patrolling, helping people. So yeah, it's the whole ethos of the place is connecting God's love with the people where they are. And I think that's something as a street pastor I've talked about a lot, and something about, I love my church. My church is a great place and I love to go there and worship God with my fellow congregation. But there is can be something intimidating about a church, and it can be very difficult for someone to walk across that threshold and go into the church and take that step. Whereas here, I think of this as a church, but actually an accessible one, a friendly one, a place where people can come and not be judged and just experience the joy and the love of being a Christian and being surrounded by Christians, without feeling any pressure or nervousness about going into an unknown place. And that's one of my absolute favourite things here, that people come in and you just feel love as soon as you walk in the place. It always has that vibe, whether it's round full of people or whether it's a quiet day. And we always have, we're staffed by volunteers, so we have 2 paid staff in the charity that run various bits of it. The rest of our helpers are all volunteers, and we always make sure we have enough that we actually have someone whose job it is to talk to people. That we call that the guest relations, and so they're not waiting tables, they're not trying to get orders out, they're not doing any of that running of the tea rooms. They actually are there to make sure people are comfortable and happy and settled and have someone to talk to. And I think that's really important, that we have that ethos and that atmosphere when you come in.
I think it's just amazing, and it's really encouraging, everything you're saying. And just for people who perhaps come from different towns where they haven't really got the same sort of level of coordination between churches, what do you think it is in Hemel that has allowed this sort of enterprise to be able to take place? What is it that's brought about partnership and unity?
I think one of the things I do say that, sometimes can be a little bit controversial is I think when churches come together, they always feel the need to do worship or do church. And actually, that's the one thing that we all do differently. We all have our different ways of worshipping God, and that's fine and that's great. And I love that diversity. As chair of Church Together, I go around a lot of the churches and I worship with them, and I love seeing the different ways. But we do different things for a reason. One of the things that brings us together is when you focus outwards, when you look to the people, you know, Jesus said, go out and share this message, share my good news with everybody. And actually, when you focus on that, I find that actually all of those little bits and pieces that can get in the way of us working together well kind of melt away, because you've got that common focus of sharing God's good news with everybody. It doesn't mean that we don't do, you know, common worship and things like that together. We do, but I think sometimes if it is a bit tricky, that can be a good place to start. I think the other thing about Hemel is just it's a really nice town, and I think a lot of the churches actually really love the town where they're in. You know, they want to give back to the town. And so a lot of stuff that we do like this is all about giving back. What's the need in our town? And that'll be different. Every place will have a different need. You know, Hemel has a big homeless population, you know, so the Tea Rooms has a pay it forward scheme, so that if you have no money at all, you can come in and get whatever you need. You know, we have a lot of problems with poverty and debt, and that's one of the reasons why we have such a busy food bank, and the CAP office is always busy, and they have a big waiting list, which we'd love to get down. We need some more debt coaches. If you know anyone that wants to be a debt coach, please come and ask. But yeah, I think it's understanding your town and seeing what the need is, but ultimately listening to where God tells you to go, you know. I've always been one that, you know, if someone asks me to do something, I'll go away and pray about it first, and I'll think about, is this really what God's asking me to do? And as I said, with the chair of churches together, I was really uncertain at that point. I was like, I don't know, I have no idea if I can do this. And it was totally him. He really did just push me off that cliff and say, I'm with you, I'm going with you. You know, I wouldn't ask you to do something if I wasn't going to be there with you. So sometimes it's just trusting him rather than your own kind of nervousness, and I'm not sure if this is going to work. Sometimes you just have to jump in with 2 feet, and that can be terrifying at times, but it's just wonderful when it comes together.
It's so great to hear what you're doing here, and just how God is providing and equipping, and like you say, when he calls you to something, he will give you the capacity to cope. So that's amazing. So can we come back and see you again in a little bit? And
absolutely,
and find out
you can
what's
come back
going on?
whenever you want.
Thank you.